Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode in the series of comparing Semaphore to popular CI/CD tools. Today is the turn of Travis CI, which along Jenkins is one of the longest running CI platforms still going strong. The video is split into two parts. In the first part, we're going to compare features and characteristics of Semaphore and Travis CI. In the second part, we're going to compare the installation and prerequisites to run your self-hosted private CI. So for part one, let's start with the trial. The first thing I noticed when I started working on this video script is the absolute lack of a trial for Travis CI. It turns out that in 2020, Travis removed the trial tier. So unless you qualify as an open source project and you prove that you are working on one, you must pay to see. For Semaphore, if you want to try it, you can try the Semaphore Cloud for free for 14 days. You don't need to put a credit card. And if you like it, you can then move to installing the open source community edition and use it forever for free. So let's talk license. Travis CI works with a proprietary license and software is closed source. The on-premise version is also closed source and released under a commercial license. On the other hand, Semaphore Community Edition is released under the Apache 2 license and is certified open source. So if free software is important to you, Semaphore has you covered. Pipeline setup. The next question is how easy is to set up a new project and a new pipeline for your software. On Travis CI, we need to add the project and push the .travis.yaml file. There is no online editor, no way to modify or create pipelines from the Travis CI dashboard, nor any way to start workflows. Travis CI uses YAML or JSON for the pipeline configuration. The format is simple to learn, but it feels a little bit too magic. Semaphore CE comes with starter workflows. These are like templates, and it comes with a fully featured visual editor. As far as I know, this is the only product that has a visual editor for CI. This means that you don't need to learn a new language. You don't need to learn the underlying YAML to use Semaphore. You can just create your jobs, configure dependencies, define conditions, environment variables, anything really, all without leaving your Semaphore dashboard. In Semaphore, each line in a job is a command to be executed in a bash shell in the CI environment. So the same commands you would normally use in your Linux or Mac OS terminal usually run just fine in Semaphore with little to no modification. This makes jobs much less magical and more predictable. Each job runs in a pristine, isolated environment, so jobs can run in parallel without interfering with each other. Visual feedback. On Travis CI, the feedback of your pipeline is the output of the log of each job. There is no overall view of all your jobs in your pipeline. Semaphore, on the other hand, extends visual feedbacks to everything you do. You can see your pipeline executed live, see at a glance what jobs have failed, and opening a job, you can view the output log. Git support. Travis CI can work with GitHub, GitLab, Bitbucket, and Assembler. If you have a different Git provider like Gitea or even your own Git server, you better look elsewhere. Semaphore has easy integration with GitHub, GitLab, and Bitbucket, and in addition, you can plug in any Git server as long as you can reach it via SSH. So if you want to go fully self-hosted, you can install Semaphore Community Edition and a headless Git server, and you're good to go. Monorepos. A monorepo is a large repository composed of various independent projects. The problems with monorepos and CI is that if I make a commit on one of these projects, all tests across all projects would run, and this is usually wasteful and it takes time and resources needlessly. Travis CI does not support monorepos. This means you need to add to the mix some monorepo enabled build systems such as Bazel, Pans, or Lerna to handle the build for you. Semaphore CE has native monorepo support. Semaphore uses change in conditions where we declare under which conditions a job may be skipped or run. The change in condition scans the commit history to see which files have changed and figure out if a job needs to run or not. Feedback. Travis CI dashboard is pretty limited. We can see the status and history of each build and the output of the job. We don't have any unified dashboard to see the health of your tests. Semaphore CE has built-in test reports. This is a dashboard that shows the state of all your tests across all your builds. We can filter by category, by duration, passed or failed state, skipped or not, and we can also search by name or category. In addition, Semaphore has Markdown reports, a feature that lets you build custom reports using Markdown inside your job. You can create in real time the report and see in real time information such as command timing, resource utilization, dependency graphs. It's really anything you can encode with Markdown or with images, you can show in the report. It's very flexible and powerful. This feature supports Mermaid GS, so you can easily build graphics and diagrams using code, and you can even embed images to build a matrix. Travis CI has built-in build matrices. This is a good feature in Travis. It's very flexible. A build matrix lets you define multiple keys in your travis.yaml file, and Travis will automatically expand each combination into a separate job. In this example, we have 8 jobs, so these are 2 by 2 by 2. This includes environment variables. This matrix lets you build and test your software using different gem log files, language versions, and environment variables. Semaphore CE also has build matrices. We only use environment variables in the build matrix. So in this case, we can supply any number of variables and values, and Semaphore will spin up a job for every combination. And then it's up to you to implement the commands to build and test the software. Notifications. Travis CI supports Slack notification, email, and webhook notification. You can also integrate with all these options, which is quite impressive. Semaphore CE only supports Slack notifications and webhook-based notifications. This lets you integrate any service that supports webhooks, such as Discord, Microsoft Teams, Google Chat, PagerDuty, Twilio, and more. Now let's move to part 2. This is the installation of the self-hosted version. We're going to compare Travis CI Enterprise to Semaphore Community Edition. Hardware. Travis CI can work on a Kubernetes cluster or a Linux VM. For Linux VMs, we need at least 2 machines, one for the control plane and one as a worker. Each of these machines should have at least 16 gigabytes of RAM and 8 CPUs. For Semaphore, we can install on a single Linux machine with 16 gigabytes of RAM and 8 CPUs, or we can use a Kubernetes cluster. Installation. How easy is to install Travis and Semaphore? Travis CI installation is quite complex. We must ensure we have opened a bunch of ports to access each of the core services. We also must install replicated COTS. This is Kubernetes off the shelf, a different version of Kubernetes that's customized for different platforms. And this will let you install the core platform, set up at least one worker node, and if needed, configure the high availability services. On Semaphore, the installation is very straightforward. We have worked hard to make it as easy as possible. We only need a single public IP, a domain, and then either a K3S installation if we want a single Linux machine, or a Kubernetes cluster if we want high availability and more resources. Installing Semaphore itself is a single helm command, which usually takes 10 minutes to complete. The default installation includes a worker node, so once installed, there's nothing else to stop besides plugging in your Git provider. High availability. For high availability, we need to install Travis CI in high availability mode. For that, we additionally need to have a Redis, a RabbitMQ, and a Postgres instance, along with its mirror or redundant instances. In addition, we need to install the workers in high availability mode. For Semaphore, high availability is built in as long as we use a Kubernetes cluster because Semaphore has a cloud-native microservice architecture. This means that the availability of your Kubernetes cluster is the availability of your Semaphore instance. So setting up high availability is no different and requires no special considerations. Scalability. To scale up Travis CI, we can configure worker nodes. Adding more nodes expands the job capacity of your CI/CD. In Semaphore CE, worker nodes are called self-hosted agents. It's the same thing, really. Semaphore supports Linux, Mac OS, Windows, and Kubernetes pods as self-hosted nodes, allowing us not only to expand the capacity very easily, but we can also use different build environments in our pipelines. So to wrap things up, both Semaphore and Travis CI offer a solid CI/CD capability, but they have different audiences and use cases. Travis CI has a long history and a strong presence in the open source community, even though the software itself is closed source, but it's starting to show its age. The lack of a free trial and limited features make it hard to recommend today unless you are already deeply invested in this ecosystem. Semaphore, on the other hand, feels much more modern, even though it has been already running in some form or other from the last 10 years. It's clear that Semaphore has been built with flexibility, scalability, and ease of use in mind. It has a great visual editor and great UI features. So if you are exploring modern CI/CD tools or considering a self-hosted option, Semaphore is absolutely worth a closer look. If you like this video, please consider liking and subscribing, and if I missed something, let me know in the comments. I read them every day. Thank you for watching and have a great day.